Welcome to ViewPoints, a podcast where we speak to SDSU faculty experts about hot topics in the news. I'm Lorena Nava Ruggiero, your host. Today we'll be speaking on women in politics with political science professor Ronnie Schreiber and women's study professor Kim Price. Ladies, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. Well, in Women in Politics, it's been a big year in terms of the election. We had Hillary Clinton's failed campaign for the White House, and now we also have Sarah Palin as the VP nominee for the Republican Party. And, of course, we have to start with the Saturday Night Live skit, where basically we have Tina Fey and her scary resemblance to Sarah Palin and Amy Poehler as Hillary Clinton. And we just have to start there. What do you think it said about the topic of sexism in America? And we'll just start with Ronnie.
Great. Well, I found the whole thing refreshing in some ways because it used humor to point out some of the flaws in the campaigns and in particular, frankly, highlight some of the things that I dislike about Sarah Palin. They did in a very humorous way. But I think what they pointed out very well was the differences in the way that people understood sexism when Hillary Clinton was running versus when Sarah Palin, who is running right now. So when Clinton was running, of course, there were a lot of sexist comments about her made in the press. And really, it wasn't taken very seriously. And now all of a sudden with Sarah Palin, it's not only being taken seriously, but the Republicans themselves are highlighting the aspect of sexism. And so I found that very interesting, and it was done very well by the SNL crew in terms of that particular debate.
I have to agree, you have to give kudos to Tina Fey. That was just, who can imagine she could have had that spot on imitation of Sarah Palin. And I would agree. I mean, in many ways, humor is a great way to actually highlight important issues. And I think it gave the issue of sexism an important spotlight on the national media, in the national stage. Because we've had people talk about this stuff, in the independent media and the blogs, feminist media, sort of your traditional leftist media. They were talking about the sexism that Hillary Clinton was facing when she was running for the Democratic nomination. Talking about her cankles and her pantsuits and her cackle. She's a ball buster, the whole thing. There's a Hillary Clinton nutcracker. The whole shebang. And I just find it interesting that now when the Republicans have a woman on the ticket, and then there are these comments, about her, she's like this rock star now. She comes onto the national stage and talks about how she's a great mother and how she's a beauty queen. She's the gun-toting, fishing, moose burger eating hockey mom. And I guess actually she calls herself the pit bull with lipstick. That whole stuff, and it's finding interesting how the Republicans, who were part of the ones who were perpetuating the sexism, not just Republicans, there were Democrats doing it as well, that, they're sort of perpetuating the sexism that Hillary was facing. But now they changed their tune when they have a woman on the ticket and they're calling sexism, which I find quite funny and ironic. It's like how all of a sudden now they're the champions of women's issues. At least I can say that it has brought up the issue and people are talking about maybe taking it a little bit more seriously. I'm not quite sure, we would have liked having it in the package that it came in through the Republican mouthpiece, but that's where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also it's not just that they brought up the issue of sexism, which I think is absolutely critical, but also I was listening to the national news this morning on NPR, and they had on the president of the National Organization for Women, Kim Gandy, because the Now Political Action Committee has endorsed Obama, which is no big surprise, obviously, a feminist group endorsing Obama. But the fact that it made national news, Morning Edition, right, which is a big national news program, I think that's indicative of the fact that the issue of gender in politics has made it back into the forefront. With Hillary Clinton, it was clearly there, and then it seemed to go away when she no longer was the nominee, so we didn't hear anything about it anymore, and then all of a sudden, Palin brought it back in. And, in some ways, it's brilliant on the part of the Republicans to have brought it in this particular package, because Palin is someone who does appeal to a number of women, obviously not a lot of feminist women, but a lot of conservative women, a lot of Republican women are very active in the Republican Party, and she's clearly someone who can, rally the troops in that way.